Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. So this week's episode of What If, episode 6. What if Killmonger saved Iron Man in Afghanistan? So you know the opening scene in the entire MCU in Iron Man 2008, where he's attacked by his convoy is attacked and he's kidnapped. That never happens because Killmonger saves him, which means he never becomes Iron Man in this universe. So you never know what happens in Endgame. You never get that far in the story, but I'm just saying, like, he doesn't become Iron Man. So that's interesting. But anyway, Killmonger saves him, and obviously he's Killmonger. He might have his own agenda. Obviously there's still the guy who had his father killed by his uncle. He still has a Wakanda issue, which is not revealed at the start, but it gets revealed later. This episode is crazy. I've never seen someone switch sides as much as Killmonger did in this episode. To be fair, like, I say switching sides, he just aligned with anyone that would benefit him, if that makes sense. So I wrote it all down just in case I forgot, because this is actually quite crazy what he did. So he saved Stark Industries, he saved Iron Man, and he exposed Obadiah for being the one behind the attack as well. So that happens at the start. So he gains a friendship with Tony Stark. And obviously Stark Industries, they make weapons, and he continues to make weapons. He doesn't have his life-changing experience in that cave. He's still the guy who sells weapons. He doesn't change in this scenario. So he's still the weapon guy, and he's powerful, he's got money, and now Killmonger is his right-hand man. And James Rhodes, he goes to, you know the ship in Age of Ultron, where Claw is, where he's selling vibranium, right? Where the Avengers go and fight Ultron. That ship. There's no Avengers in this, there's no Ultron in this, but James Rhodes and other military personnel, they go to that boat to buy vibranium for Stark Industries to build weapons. They're building these big robots, vibranium robots, killer robots. A bit like the killer robots from Iron Man 2, except they're vibranium and not made by the slasher. And they're making this deal, and then things go wrong for them because T'Challa's there. Now, T'Challa, I'm pretty sure Chadwick Boseman plays... I didn't know this, actually. I thought he was just in the Star-Lord episode, but apparently he recorded for 4 episodes. I assume this is one of them. T'Challa turns up, spoils the party, because obviously this is their vibranium. And obviously, because Tony Stark doesn't become Iron Man, Civil War's events probably don't happen. Then again, like, that happened because of Bucky, right? But Zemo was behind it. So I guess Age of Ultron doesn't happen. I guess Age of Ultron doesn't happen. Therefore, Zemo doesn't lose his family because of Iron Man. He doesn't attack the Avengers. And because of that, Civil War doesn't happen. This part isn't shown in the episode, but this is what I'm joining the dots up. Because if Iron Man does not become Iron Man in the first place, then he never creates Ultron. Which means Age of Ultron never happens, which means Sokovia is fine, which means Zemo has his family, which means he doesn't seek revenge, which means Civil War doesn't happen. And I'm getting to this point because in Civil War, T'Challa's father died. Well, it doesn't happen now in this reality. His father is alive and king of Wakanda, but T'Challa is still the Black Panther. So he comes in, he attacks the ship, he wants vibranium back, and Killmonger... So this is where Killmonger turns on Rhodes and the US, and also Wakanda as well. So Killmonger kills T'Challa, right? He has this crazy Stark machine. He manages to take out T'Challa, take the vibranium, and then he kills James Rhodes. He kills War Machine, but I guess he doesn't become War Machine in this reality. He kills War Machine and Black Panther. Just like that. And he frames War Machine. He frames James Rhodes for the murder of T'Challa. What he's trying to do here is start a war between Wakanda and the US. Right? So he's trying to start a conflict like he was trying to start in Black Panther, the movie. It was a different type of war, but he was trying to start a conflict. He wanted revenge. But he wasn't really on the US's side either. Like, he wasn't on either side, he was just trying to get them to fight, trying to trigger the war between them, and for him, this was the perfect way of doing it. But Tony Stark is one step ahead. He was recording, not recording, but Jarvis was there, technically, so Jarvis sees all, and Tony Stark saw exactly what Killmonger did, and Killmonger kills Iron Man. He's not Iron Man yet, but he kills Tony Stark. Tony creates a robot, a vibranium robot, and Killmonger somehow takes it out. It seems like a killer robot, insane. Killmonger manages to take it out, which obviously he's an incredible fighter, but he managed to take the robot out with a bit of ease, a bit too easy, I felt. And then he killed Tony with a vibranium spear. A vibranium spear that he took from Claw's ship, right? So he kills Tony with a vibranium spear, and in doing that, he frames the Wakandans for that. So now he's framed the Americans for T'Challa dying, and now he's framed the Wakandans for Tony Stark dying. So conflict is starting, and the US, General Ross, yes, General Ross is back. He's in charge. He wants to go to war, so they create this robot army. Killmonger's in charge of this army. Pepper Potts does not buy this, and Shuri as well. When you get to Wakanda, she doesn't buy this either. She knows, they both know something's up, and no one else can figure it out. So at this point in time, Killmonger's still on the good side of the Americans at this point. So he's caused all this death already, and then him and Claw team up to go to Wakanda, and just outside the shield, the barrier, he kills Claw. He kills Claw, I guess just like in Black Panther, but in a different way. He kills Claw, he goes into Wakanda with Claw's body, claiming that he is Njobu's son, which he is, and, well, they take him in. And as far as they know, he wasn't behind anything with the other murders. So he's still in the clear, he's still on the good side of the Americans and the Wakandans at this point in time, which is pretty crazy since he wasn't start a war between them. But he's playing, he's fitting, he's doing what gets him what he wants, and he wants this conflict to begin. So he kills Claw, he supposedly joins the Wakandan side, and he says like there's a short circuit sort of thing. So as soon as the robot army's coming, there's a whole army of big robots, vibranium made. He tells the Wakandans to let them in. And he says that because once they get in past the barrier, they'll lose their connection. Their signal will be lost. They won't survive in Wakanda. They'll just shut down completely. And they actually did. But there was another twist, because Killmonger had a little device to reactivate them. So he tricked them into letting the Wakandan... he tricked the Wakandans into letting this killer robot army from the US into Wakanda, just to activate them again. And now the Wakandans have got to defend themselves against this massive robot army. And then Killmonger decides, I'm going to save the day. He rides the rhinos into battle, takes down all the robots. Well, not just him, but he helps the Dora Milaje out. He takes down the robots. So he framed the Americans. I mean, first he saved Tony Stark, gained his trust. He framed the Americans for the King of Wakanda's, no, the Prince of Wakanda actually, because his dad's still alive, T'Challa's death. And then he frames the Wakandans for Tony Stark's death to start a war. And then he changes sides to the Wakandans to trick them, basically. He tricks the Wakandans into being on his side and tells them to let this killer robot army in, to let the enemy in, because they'll shut down, just to reactivate them. Switch sides again, let this army in. He tricked them into letting an army into their homes. And then they went to war. And then he switches sides again to take down the robot army. And then he gains the mantle of Black Panther. He becomes Black Panther. And this all happens in half an hour. This is ridiculous. This episode was crazy. And the problem is, they don't end it with an ending. He becomes Black Panther. And then Pepper and Shuri meet because they both know something's up, and they both want to team up to try and stop this somehow. Then the episode basically ends there. It doesn't have an ending. It feels like they cut it off with the intention of making a sequel or doing something else, because there's no way that this particular story arc ends here, because that is just... If they never do anything with this after this, I'd be very annoyed. I know there's season 2 confirmed. This is one of the episodes that needs a second part, because, you know, all of this happens, all of this chaos happens, and then Killmonger becomes Black Panther. That's pretty much it. Like, I didn't expect all of them to have, like, positive endings. Like, the zombie one certainly didn't, you know. But I at least want an ending. That didn't feel like the end, you know. But, yeah. I guess if they ended it on Killmonger becoming Black Panther, that would have been fine. But they did a scene afterwards with two characters talking about trying to stop him. And then they end the episode, like... one little scene, adding on one little scene makes you want so much more. They got to do something with it, and we'll see about next season. So I don't know what next week's episode is. I'm gonna try and keep that secret because I don't want to know. I think it's just better if I don't know what's coming. But that's the best thing about this series. You don't know what's coming. Every episode is not connected to one another, even though in some ways they are, but they're not. It's just like you change an element from a specific movie, and then it has a butterfly effect, a domino effect on other events, you know. And they've done some cool things so far. What if T'Challa was Star-Lord? What if Peggy was Captain America, or Captain Britain rather? What if there were Marvel Zombies? Also, the ending of Marvel Zombies deserves a sequel as well. I can't remember the rest of the episodes, but what if all the Avengers died? Or what if Killmonger did all this? It's crazy what you can do with this, man. I cannot wait to see what they got next. I need to see a Thanos focused one, to be honest. I know we've seen him a couple times, but one focused on Thanos' story would be great, I think. Anyway, yeah, that is all. That is all from me. This episode for me is a 9 out of 10. Really damn good. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and see ya.